Please give a loud welcome to Chancellor Xero Skidmore.
That's my one slide right there. They're expensive. So, thank you guys. Yeah, so we've heard a lot about the importance of stories. I figured I'd come out and tell one if that's cool. If that's cool, you gotta say something. All right. And since you're participating, I'd also like an ironic standing ovation when I leave. Cool? Agreed? Awesome. All right, so yeah, I work with young people. I teach creative writing. A lot of people know me for that. Some other people recognize me around town as a musician. I play percussion with the Michael Foster Project, if you know that band. So it's kind of like these two identities that I wear. They've over the years started to come together. The poetry has always been like the dominant one because it's kind of my main thing. It's typically performing, written work. Every line has been written out and rehearsed, right? What I'm doing right now is completely foreign to me. I was hired to do the poem earlier. I was invited to do this. Invited, not getting paid. So this is the part I'm not getting paid to do, but the only reason why that's important is because I agreed to do it because I love telling this story. It involves myself and a fellow musician. His name is Sean Griffin. He's a guitar player, producer here in Baton Rouge. Years ago, back in 2004, we found out that Prince was coming to Louisiana. We're both big Prince fans, been huge Prince fans all our lives. And we're like, well, you know, he's coming to Louisiana. We're musicians. We have pulses. We're going to see Prince. Sean is such a Prince geek that he belongs to the Prince fan club, which means if you buy your tickets through the fan club, you get to go to the sound check before the concert. So I'm going to the damn Prince sound check, all right? So we drive to New Orleans, to the Sanger Theater. We file into the theater. There are about maybe 70 people already in their seats. Sean is on the first row. I'm on the second row. I don't know if that was because he was the one who's actually in the fan club or if he just like maybe didn't really want to put me on the front row. I never asked him about that. But I'm sitting directly behind Sean. Prince is going through some songs, him and his band. Between songs, he's got a banter going with people in the audience. Me and Sean are so awestruck, we can't raise our hands to say nothing to Prince. Like we're just kind of just sitting there, just like we can't believe we're just at his concert, right? So this woman raises her hand and asks Prince if he can play Crazy You. Now, any real Prince fans out in the audience? All right, Crazy You's from the first album. It's this sweet, laid-back kind of guitar ballad kind of thing. It's beautiful, but it's like very, very relaxed kind of song. Prince tells the woman, and this is just a testament to like Prince's awesomeness, he says, that song is so far back in my catalog, ma'am, I'd have to go back and relearn it. So I'm sorry, but I can't play it. I was like, damn, to have a catalog, right? So Sean puts his hand in the air and says, I know it. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on? We didn't discuss this on the hour-and-a-half drive to New Orleans, right? And so Prince looks at him, and now it's like Prince is looking at Sean, right? And Prince said, do you know it? And Sean reaches into his pocket and pulls out his guitar pick. He said, I got my pick right here. I'm like, at this point, I'm getting dizzy. Prince takes his guitar off and says, well, come play it. And Sean gets up out of his seat. He's on the first row. And he just stands there in front of the stage and starts playing Crazy You. And the audience is clapping and everybody's rocking side to side, except for me, because I'm like, Okay, so Sean plays a couple of bars. Everybody's having a good time. He finishes with some cool little chord at the end. And everybody's like, oh, it's so cute. That was awesome. That was so cute. And so Sean, he gets into his rock star pose, and he breaks into Bambi. Wow! and this is like from Prince's like maybe second or third album. I know I'm doing a horrible job. Don't make jokes of me. And everybody's like, look at this guy. And so now like everybody's like rocking and they, they're doing that thing that white people do at concerts. I don't know what that means. But they're doing that thing, right? And like, I'm like, oh man, this is not happening. It's like amazing, but I feel bad. I feel like I'm being traumatized because I just can't handle the input right now, right? And so Sean is playing the song and Prince is like, okay, all right. Prince walks over to the bass player, asks for the bass, and Prince starts playing the bass part to Bambi along with Sean. Prince is playing with Sean right now, right? And the room is spinning for me. The drummer jumps in, the keyboard player jumps in, and like Sean is just like leading Prince in the band in Bambi. And I don't know who this dude is anymore. Like we are not the type of people who do things like this, right? And so he finishes and he hands Prince back the guitar. And I'm like, my heart is like beating fast right now just thinking about it. So he finishes and he hands Prince back the guitar, and Prince kind of like gets in his ear and he's kind of like, I can see his hands moving, lips moving, and Sean's kind of shaking his head, and Sean's shaking his head. And then Sean walks away from the stage and sits down and doesn't say nothing to me. Not only did he play for Prince, first he spoke to Prince. He played for him, then he played with him, then he had a conversation with him, and now he ain't turning around telling me what Prince told him. And I realized that maybe it's not cool for me to like ask him what was said in the private conversation, but it's also not cool to drive an hour and a half somewhere with somebody and not tell them what Prince told you when you can sit there and see Prince telling them something. So I'm waiting for him to turn around and do me the courtesy of telling me what was said in his private conversation with Prince. He's not turning around. So I slap him on the back. I'm like, dude, like, what did Prince tell you? So he turns around and he said, man, he asked me to go out on tour with him. I said, dude, no. He said, of course, no. Prince didn't ask me to go on tour with him. Then what did he say? Prince said he's going to give me something, and when it was given to him, it helped him become a better guitar player and a better human being. What is that, right? Prince is about to give him the secret, right? And so Prince's guitar tech comes out and hands Sean this Jehovah's Witness book on how to be like a Jehovah's Witness or something like that. That's it. Me and Sean are both atheists, by the way, but we're like, oh, Prince gave it to you. We're going to read that book. I mean, it's going to like spend nights at each other's like houses. But of course, like Prince got back his guitar. Prince asked the band to go back into Bambi so he can like just, humble Sean and show him how to melt somebody's face off with a solo. And he did that, and I understand that's what musicians do. But, there are types of like cheesy little like morals to the story, right? I want to be Sean. I want to be that person who's bold enough to bring his guitar pick with him to the concert, and bold enough to say I know the song, and bold enough to walk up to the stage when Prince hands him a guitar, right? I also want to be Prince. I want to be somebody successful, but not so successful that I can't hand my guitar to somebody and let them play at my concert, right? Like we see all that stuff. But I think for me, being there in that moment, and over the years, like the story, when we got back to Baton Rouge, I had to tell the story over and over. Everybody wanted me to tell the story, right? I'm the poet, but also I'm the witness. Because if Sean would have gone to that concert by himself and that would have happened, we would have called him a liar to his face and disassociated ourselves with him for sullying Prince's name in his filthy little lie, right? So I came back and everybody's like, dude, like you got to tell me the Prince story. And I was like, okay, here's the Prince story, right? I told them what I'm telling you, right? And then after a while, it got kind of old, and time moved on, and then last year we lost Prince, and people started asking me about the story again. It's like, didn't Sean it was like, yeah, let me tell you the story, right? And happy to tell it, and happy to tell it here today to a much bigger audience than just kind of the local musicians around town. But for me, and my work that I do with young people, teaching young people to write, giving young people a voice, giving young people a platform, giving them the skills to create a dynamic and powerful oratory presentation, I feel like that life skill is invaluable, no matter what they decide to go on and do in their lives. I'm proud to say that the current top-ranking youth poetry team, because my kids do compete, the top-ranking team in the world is the Baton Rouge team right now. Yes. And as of not even a month ago, there was the individual international adult competition, and the youngest person to ever win the competition won the competition, graduated from Baton Rouge High a few years ago, and he's also one of my former students. He's the top-ranking adult poet in the world right now. Saying all this to say, you're going to hear a lot about how important it is to be able to tell your story, to be able to share your narrative, your journey with people that you want to collaborate with, people that you want to inspire, and that is very important. But it's also important to keep in mind that sometimes you're the witness, not the star of the story. Sometimes people need you to be their witness, people who are marginalized, young people, the elderly, minorities, women, people from the LGBTQ community, not to tell their story for them, but to sing their praises when you know that will also help them. Not to drown them out, but to stand behind them and yes, I was there. To acknowledge when they've done something amazing and spread the word when you have witnessed that awesomeness. So for me, working with young people, it's very important that I teach them to tell their own stories and I get out of their way. But it's also important that I can take the stage today and brag on them a little bit. And so keeping in mind that there's that journey that we all are on trying to get to success, whatever that may mean for you. But it's also important to think about often who we want to take with us. Thank you.